Okay, let's be honest here. Did school even exist during COVID times? Like, we would have online school. I didn't even need to wake up to get ready or anything. I was just in my bed the whole time, and I woke up like 2 minutes before school started. The real thing that's scary is when the teacher calls on you and your face is a mess, you're eating your favorite snacks, you're FaceTiming your friends while playing Roblox, and you just make up an excuse and say that your microphone is broken in the chat or your camera is not working. I don't think the teacher believed us, but I don't think there was anything they could do.
Don't break anyone's heart. They only have one, but they have 206 bones. So...
Is it just me, or like whenever I'm watching a TV show and they have the most dramatic cuts ever, I wonder what happens after they cut the scene. Like in real life, there aren't any cuts, so if you do like an embarrassing thing, everyone's gonna laugh or like point or something. But then in movies and TV shows, they just cut the scene and then move on to the next scene. So the characters in that show or movie don't have to feel the embarrassment, if you know what I mean. Also, whenever I'm watching a movie that has their character go underwater, I also hold my breath to see if I would have survived. Okay, is it just me, or if I have to wake up early, I would set so many alarms. Let's say I had to wake up at 6. I would set around 5 alarms at 5:50, 6, 6:10. I wouldn't even wake up after all of the alarms I set because I would like say stop in my sleep because I have a Google Home. So I've learned to put my phone across the room. I wouldn't be able to reach over and just press the stop or snooze button. This is totally off topic, but today in science, the teacher was talking about letting us visit somewhere because his friend was like a scientist. And this one class clown, he shouted out, "Oh wait, you have friends?" Okay, I had to make this video. I don't care if it's not funny, but it was so funny to me. So I was just sitting at my usual desk. We were doing something for like Spanish on our tablets. And these guys, they were sitting next to me. Let's just name the 3, A, B, and C. They're the main ones in the story. So A, he suddenly starts crying. And the guys don't notice because they're playing their little game. After 10 minutes of A bawling his eyes out, the guys turn to him and ask him what's wrong. And then he's like to B, "Well, my friend told me that you said that I was poor." So B's like really confused. B's like, "I never said that. Why would I say that about you?" And then A is so mad at him and they start arguing back and forth. And A's like, "Yeah, you did. My friend told me that you called me poor even though I only have $5 million. Just because I only have $5 million doesn't mean I'm poor. You're just rich." And I was like, what the hell is happening? So I was just so confused at this point. And then B was like, "I don't care if you're poor or rich." And then so A was like, "Yeah, but you shouldn't say that about people." He turned the other way and started crying again. So C butts in and he's like, "Isn't this just a video game?" A video game. I think this is just me, but I can choose whether I want to be an introvert or an extrovert. Like, whenever I'm around extroverted people, I will act, like, more to myself and introverted. But whenever I'm with people that are shyer, I can show, like, my extroverted self. So, you know how in elementary or primary school, there would always be that story teachers tell of the kid leaning back in his chair, hitting his head, and getting hospitalized? But that would never happen.
Last night, I was lying in bed, and I realised something. You know when you hate your siblings? Yeah, we all do. And then you're like, "Oh, well, you're the adopted one." And you don't really mean it. It's kind of a joke. But, like, my brother's actually adopted. So, I'd be really mean if I went up to him and be like, "Oh, you're the adopted sibling." You know when you're playing Roblox with your friends and they're like, "Oh, what game do you want to play?" And you're like, "Oh, I don't mind, you pick." And they're like, "Oh no, I picked last night, you picked tonight." So you just pick a random game. Let's use Murder Mystery, for example. And you're like, "Oh, let's play Murder Mystery." And then your friend's like, "I don't like that game." Well, don't tell me to pick the game then. If you don't like the game that I want to play, don't ask me to pick the game in the first place if you're not gonna play the game I want to play. So then you suggest another game, like, "Oh, let's play Royal High." I don't like Royal High. No. If you want me to pick the game, you gotta be happy with the things that I tell you. You gotta be happy with the game that I pick. Because if you're just gonna say no to all the games that I pick, what's the point in asking me to pick? Chloe, I know you're probably gonna see this, and I know you're listening to this. I will come for you and I will find you.
Did anyone else just like run into glass when they were younger? Well, I hope so, because that was the most embarrassing thing that happened to me when I was like 8. So I was in a restaurant with my family and friends, and when us kids were done, you know, you always ask if you can play outside. So we did, and I don't know why, but I seemed to be so excited that I ran towards the door. But because it was glass, I thought nothing was there, and literally crashed into it. Everyone stared at me, and luckily I didn't cry. But I had to stay in the restaurant with the ice pack on my head, and people were glaring at me the whole time. It was not a fun experience. Why does this happen? Because, you know, at like 5 years old, Teachers are always talking about how important neat handwriting is, right? Then, why can I not understand a word my teacher writes on my work? And it's always the English teachers as well. After doing like a really big test, and after dying to know what you got, you can't even read what they wrote on it. And please don't wear a white shirt when it's really hot. Otherwise, when you raise your arms, we get a very unpleasant sight. Sweaty armpits. To be honest, I really think schools should start handwriting tests before hiring them. I don't get embarrassed often, but when I do, it's pretty embarrassing. You know when you think someone's waving at you and you wave back and it turns out they were waving to someone beside you or behind you? Well, that has happened to me so many times I can barely count. But here's something that happened to me at the mall. This girl was probably talking to her friend and she called out my name. So I turned around and looked at them and they were just talking to each other until they stopped and turned around to look at me. And they had the weirdest expression on their faces, and I realized they weren't talking to me. Yeah, don't make the same mistake as I did. I hate it when I do one tiny little bad thing. For example, chipping an old insignificant plate, and then my mom gets all freaked out about it and rants about how responsible I am. But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is when she goes around telling all her friends about it, but with a twist. She would go around saying I not only chipped the plate, but also cracked all the cups, broke the dishwasher, lost the dog, drowned the fish, forgot his sock, and spilled loads of water. Like, huh? Last time I checked, I didn't even chip the plate. I found the chip and got blamed for it. And we don't even have a fish.